Now let's get to reviews. Cellar Door. Eric and I saw this. Here is the plot synopsis of this interesting movie. Does the movie execute? We'll add to that in a second. Here's the actual plot synopsis. Quote, looking for a fresh start after a miscarriage, a couple, played by Jordana Brewster and Scott Speedman, find themselves being gifted the house of their dreams from a wealthy homeowner, played by Laurence Fishburne. Here's the thing, there is one caveat of this deal. This couple, they cannot open the cellar door. Now, to paint a picture, this home is essentially pretty much a mansion and it's beautifully done. The interiors are gorgeous. There's a couple things in the interior that might make you go, oh, this is kind of weird. There's a gun collection artifact situation off to the living room area. This horror thriller, it's 97 minutes. It's directed by Von Stein, a filmmaker that I like because he directed a movie called Every Breath You Take, which I think is underrated. It stars Michelle Monaghan and Casey Affleck's in it. And also before that, he directed a movie called Inheritance. He's very good with suspense thrillers. Cellar Door is a suspense thriller with Jordana Brewster and Scott Speedman. Eric Holmes, your thoughts on the movie?
I was just looking up Every Breath You Take. I don't know why I haven't even heard of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to go check that one out, especially based on the Cellar Door. I like this one a lot. So first of all, the setup of I'm going to give you a house. It's yours free and clear. You can never go in the cellar door. And my thought is, oh, I wonder what the exact first thing they're going to do when they get to the house. They're going to try to get in the cellar door, peek in it. And that's like the mystery throughout the whole thing. But it quickly becomes clear that the what's in the cellar door is metaphor or analogy or whatever for what's the thing in your relationship that's tearing it apart that you don't want to talk about. The cellar door is the elephant in the room, and it was kind of fun watching the relationships play out and sort of fall apart, and it all kind of leads to that cellar door. The way it ended, we can talk about that in spoilers, but I really liked the way it ended, and I didn't think I would. This was like something that, like, on its face was about to annoy me, but the execution, how the movie went on, as it went on, I was like, I'm kind of right there with these characters. Like, at first, I'm like, just break that cellar door up, and just it doesn't exist. It's not there anymore. But then the longer the movie goes, I'm like, oh, what's in that cellar door? Maybe he can come in through the. He said don't open the cellar door. He didn't say you could break through the floor. Go through it that way.
Yeah, the movie also
And then,
co-stars Addison Timlin. She plays a co-worker of Scott Speedman's character, and she is a co-worker who might bring an extra level of complication to the couple, to the mansion, and to the aforementioned cellar door. So she's actually has a pretty, almost as big of a role. I think she has as much of a meaty role as Laurence Fishburne in the movie.
yeah,
That said, the three main characters in this movie, Jordana Brewster, Scott Speedman, and the house.
I
Really,
I would I would say her part is bigger than Lawrence Fishburne, because Lawrence
yeah,
Fishburne is basically just, hey, here's my house, here's the rules, and now it's yours, and then he just kind of disappears for the rest of the movie.
correct. Yes, you're right. You're right. Actually, Addison Timlin has some interesting scenes in the movie, and with a suspense thriller, you're going to have your share of twists or surprises, which Eric and I will not give away. But I thought that was fun. I thought it was the twists were handled pretty okay. Eric, don't you think? With
Yeah.
Cellar Door?
Yeah, and the thing about this is it wasn't quite the like it definitely had thriller elements to it, as you would expect for a movie with a setup like this, but it was it played a lot more abstract, I think, with the concept than a movie like this normally would.
It was a lot more tasteful than I thought it would be. I thought it
Yeah.
was going to be a cheesy suspense thriller, but you have Jordana
And by
Brewster.
and by the way, if this was a cheesy suspense thriller, that I would have been totally fine with that.
100%. I would have been totally fine with that as well. But you have Scott Speedman and Jordana Brewster in the lead roles. They do a good job because you believe them. You believe the predicament they're in. And it was cool for the opening. Eric was saying the opening act with Laurence Fishburne. That's a really cool little movie in and of itself because it's like, here's a great actor introducing these people to this beautiful home. It's a great, really cool 15-minute watch. And then the rest, you have to figure out, are they going to open the cellar door or not? What will happen to their lives if they do open it? But then, as Eric says, maybe the cellar door is indicative or it reflects maybe a bigger picture of what's going on in each of their lives and the inner demons they must face within Cellar Door. It's in select theaters and digital November 1st. Eric Holmes, your rating and final comment on Cellar Door.
I think just on its face, this is a 4-star movie, but I think the way they handled it just kind of elevates it a bit. So I'll go 4.5 on this.
4.5 stars from Eric Holmes.
Yeah.
I'm giving Cellar Door 4 stars. Eric and I will do a quick mini review, as in after we're done recording this, we're gonna do a 2 or 3 minute discussion on the ending of Cellar Door, whether we liked it or not. That spoiler will be available for our Cinematics Patreon members. And I'm also thinking of opening up our sort of early access Patreon stuff to Apple Podcast subscriptions. I haven't gotten that started yet, but if you're a Patreon member, you get our spoilers a week earlier at least. I mean, Eric, I uploaded a spoiler I did for this movie called Nocebo. I put it up on our Deepest Dream YouTube channel. Nocebo, I
Very
uploaded
timely.
that. What? Which one?
Very timely.
Very, yeah, very timely. People are going, "What's Nocebo?" Oh, well, that was a movie that was released in 2022. I should have released that maybe a couple of weeks after. I put it on Patreon first, and then no, not a week later, 2 years later, I released it on our YouTube. So Patreon members, maybe even Apple Podcast subscription members, you will get early access to our spoilers, which Eric and I are going to do for Cellar Door. And Eric does not know this, but I'm also going to add Von Stein's comment on the end of Cellar Door as well within our spoilers. I'm going to put that in for our Patreon
Nice.
listeners, members. Yeah, it's nice. Me and Eric will talk for a couple minutes, and then we'll throw it to the big star of the party with Von Stein giving his thoughts on Cellar Door.